Okay, after all of the technical difficulties that I've had over the last couple of days, welcome finally to episode 10 of the Robbie Basel show. I am your host, Robbie Basel. A couple of days later than expected. Apologies for the technical difficulties on Friday. We do have a new mic. It does look the same, but it's the same type of microphone. And we have all that in play. It was actually a setting that I didn't realize that was changed. Something got like defaulted or something. But besides all that, here we are. And my microphone levels are working. So here we are. Everything is working to perfection. That's awesome. But today's a big day because we have a lot of soccer news to talk about. On Friday, I'm going to go over probably because the NBA Finals Game 5 is about to start. I'll probably go over all of that and the NHL, all of that on Friday. Um, like I said, apologies for what happened last week. But enough about last week. We have this week to go into. And we are going to begin actually with the U.S. Open golf tournament, which is starts this Thursday at Los Angeles Country Club, of course, in L.A. It's actually not hosted a major tournament in 70 years, but it does host the Genesis Invitational. Debuted the Genesis, for context, debuted in 1926 at LA Country Club, when it was the LA Open, and now actually the tournament's moved to Riviera, but over time, the tournament originated at Los Angeles Country Club, but there hasn't been a major hosted there in a very long time. So you're probably asking yourself, Robbie, if the major hasn't been hosted there in a long time, would you expect in a tournament like this? And that is a phenomenal question. And I'm going to give you two names, two this time, not three. Actually, no, we will give you three. Screw it, we'll give you three to watch out for this week. My predictions to win, because we had to do it quick, because we have an hour at least of soccer coverage possibly to talk about for you guys today. My first player is gonna be Colin Morikawa. Now, the reason for this is Colin Morikawa ranks in the top 15 in driving accuracy. And at Los Angeles Country Club, based on the videos we've seen of that rough, oh boy, you need to drive it in the fairway. And I think Colin Morikawa, with how accurate he is, and remember, he knows what it's like to play in really deep rough. I mean, look what he did when he won the Open. Look what he did when he won his PGA Championship. He's played at courses with deep rough. So, I mean, it's a similar situation for Colin Morikawa, and I think he currently sits at plus 3,200 in the betting odds. Not that as high up as I thought he would be. But I think Colin Morikawa gets his bounce back, gets his U.S. Open Championship. Another player to watch out for. And I talked about him last time. I'm gonna predict him again. I'm going with Xander Schauffele. Now, he has had a very slow start to the year. He hasn't won anything yet, from my knowledge. Um, this is his time. This has to be his time. We keep predicting him to do good in majors every single time he goes out and steps foot on the golf course. I mean, he went to, I believe he played at college at San Diego State. His college of golf. He's lives out west. This is his time. Playing in a major that's close to home, I feel like Xander Schauffele, with his ball striking, his driving, a lot of his stats have gone down this year. It's very interesting to see. But I think Xander Schauffele, this is his time to really make some noise. He's won a gold medal in his career. He's won a Ryder Cup, a President's Cup, but this is his time with a U.S. Open, his home tournament. Because remember, we last weekend in Canada, that was madness, and a Canadian won for the first time in 69 years. Can a U.S. man win it, their home tournament this week? I think Xander would be the perfect fit for that role. I'm going to just scroll down a little bit. For someone who I think can maybe make some noise from the bottom of the list, and why not go for a guy who's at plus 10,000 odds? I'm going with Minwoo Lee. Minwoo Lee, underrated pick, I think. He's from Australia. The Australian rough is very deep as well. We saw that at the President's Cup a couple of years ago. The Australian PGA, same way when it's played at Melbourne. So he knows what the style of play is like. He plays on the European Tour, so he knows what playing out of thick rough is like. I think Minwoo Lee could be an underdog, maybe a sleeper pick to possibly make a move this week. So my big two were Xander and Colin Morikawa. My underrated pick being Minwoo Lee. I'm sorry I can go into depth with this more because we have big news to talk about in soccer. We're actually going to begin with a transfer. We'll talk about this for a minute or two. That was Kylian Mbappe from today. According to Fabrizio Romano, Mbappe will not be extending his contract past this upcoming season. Could this possibly lead him to be leaving next season as a free agent? That's a very interesting question to ask yourself. Um, this was the news came around a couple of hours ago. According to Fabrizio Romano, they had an it's like a clause where you can extend another year, and Mbappe declined it, which is very interesting for me. But PSG is falling apart. Remember, Leo Messi went to Inter Miami. I was so um I don't even know what the word would be. There's no words that you can really use to describe my feeling and happiness that Messi's coming to play in MLS after they battled. It's gonna be a battle of the retirement leagues with the Saudis and MLS. But besides the fact, um, the big deal, of course, had to be with Mbappe. Well, this could be his last season at PSG, and this could be the start of PSG's downfall from the core that they have. Their failure in the Champions League, their failure. They barely won League On. They won by 1 point over Nantes. I believe it's who was in second. I talked about that a week ago or a couple of weeks ago. So, could Mbappe be heading to a certain Real Madrid? On team up with Vinicius Jr., Jude Bellingham? That's a very interesting question to ask yourself. But could the Real Madrid next year be getting, or maybe even this year? It's possible. It's very unlikely, but it could be possible next year that Real Madrid gets that really big star striker, that number 9, to replace Benzema, who went to Saudi Arabia and was revealed this week. But enough about transfer news. We have tournaments to preview for you guys. We have 5 tournaments, and we're going to begin in alphabetical order. And we're going to begin in Africa. Now, Africa, I love African soccer. It's really underrated. And it drives me crazy for how underrated this is. For context, so here is how I'm just checking the mic level real quick to make sure that we're still rolling and everything is okay. So apologies for this quick stoppage. Yep, we're good. So here we go. We begin with so here's how you get into this tournament. You have to finish in the top 2 of your group to qualify. Group A, this was a no-brainer for Nigeria. They're still elite. They failed to get into the World Cup. If you forgot, they lost to Ghana. I believe it was Ghana. And then we have my boys from Guinea-Bissau. Now, Guinea-Bissau played in AFCON in 2020 and in the previous edition, and Guinea-Bissau got 1 point. Didn't score a goal. And that is how they started with a 0-0. I believe it was against South Sudan or something like that. But Guinea-Bissau started their qualifying for this tournament, beating Sao Tome and Principe. I totally butchered that. 5-1. Sao Tome and Principe, by the way, lost 10-0 in Nigeria, which is miraculous. But Guinea-Bissau, the other team in this group is Sierra Leone, who played in the previous edition, drew Ivory Coast and Algeria and still didn't get out of their group. They lost to Equatorial Guinea. Quick thing about Equatorial Guinea later. Guinea-Bissau and Sierra Leone drew. Then Sierra Leone drew Sao Tome and Principe. And Guinea-Bissau beat Nigeria. Interesting. Sierra Leone then bounced back with a win against Sao Tome and Principe. Nigeria went out and beat Guinea-Bissau. Setting up a matchup where we have the matchups are going to be on June 14th is the first one, which is in only 2 days. We have Guinea-Bissau, who can clinch qualification with a win against Sao Tome and Principe in Guinea-Bissau. You have to expect that Guinea-Bissau is going to run them off the field. I mean, you're looking at Sao Tome and Principe's record on the road. They've played two road matches with a negative 12 goal difference. You have to get back Guinea-Bissau to get a result here. A draw at minimum, because Nigeria has to back itself to beat Sierra Leone. It'll be sad to see Sierra Leone possibly not be in this tournament. But if Guinea-Bissau does not get the 3 points against Sao Tome and Principe, this could be setting up for a final day battle in September between Sierra Leone and Guinea-Bissau. I do back Guinea-Bissau to get a result and advance into the tournament. Nigeria technically hasn't qualified yet, but I have to back them as well. They're going to qualify along with probably with Guinea-Bissau. But yeah, that's Group A right now. It's very interesting. It's possibly could come down to the final match day. Group B has two studs and two minnows in the African continent. We begin with Burkina Faso, who almost made it to the final round of World Cup qualifying. Were in the group with Algeria back for the previous World Cup, and Cape Verde. Um, yeah, they're actually in the group with Nigeria. Um, by the way, with Nigeria, just a fun fact. We actually have to talk. No, we'll talk about that when we talk about our little minnow that I think can make some noise possibly at AFCON. But it's Burkina Faso, Cape Verde, Eswatini, and Togo. Togo in World Cup qualifying finished in second in their group behind Senegal. They're behind the Senegalese national team. Taking a look at what's happened so far in this group, Togo drew Eswatini to start the tournament. Not what you wanted. Then we had Burkina Faso beat Cape Verde. Then Cape Verde beat Togo, and Eswatini lost to Burkina Faso. Then Cape Verde drew Eswatini, and Burkina Faso beat Togo 1-0. Then Cape Verde won. Then Togo drew Burkina Faso, setting up what's going to be coming up next. And that's Togo against Eswatini. What they need is Burkina Faso to win by like multiple goals, and Togo and Eswatini to not draw. Because if they draw, it's pretty much it's over, and Cape Verde's gonna go through because Cape Verde's next match is against Togo, and could back Togo even though it's on the road to possibly get a result in that match. Because if Cape Verde doesn't do anything against Burkina Faso, that match could be for qualification in September. But you have to back. I could back Cape Verde to get a draw. They need pretty much a draw to feel really safe. Because they can park the bus, on defense. But yeah, it's a very interesting start. Burkina Faso already qualified, so they have pretty much nothing to play for. Could that be setting up for some shenanigans and possibly see a less strong Burkina Faso team? That'll be very interesting. Group C is interesting because Kenya was in this group and they got disqualified for government stuff. I'm not going to talk about that. So the three teams that are in this group are Namibia. I totally may butcher that. Cameroon and Burundi. Um, Kenya, of course, got disqualified. Namibia is currently in first place with Cameroon in second. The matchup this month is Namibia against Burundi. Um, Namibia can clinch its qualification into this tournament. I don't believe they're in the 2021 edition, but that'll be very interesting because Cameroon gets Burundi next in September. You have to back Namibia and Cameroon. I mean, Burundi is drawing a match. They drew Namibia in the first day at home. They're on the road, I believe, they're going to be at home against Cameroon, which, by the way, home field advantage in Cameroon is a big deal, but you have to back Namibia. Oh my God. It's a tongue twister, guys. Namibia and Cameroon to get out of this group fairly easily. Group D is really odd because there's two teams on 9 points and two teams on 3 points. We have Egypt, Guinea, Malawi, and Ethiopia. Um, Ethiopia, last time we had this tournament, got a result. But they've also like played decent in World Cup qualifying. For context, I just want to bring up what Ethiopia's done recently. Ethiopia in AFCON qualifying beat Egypt. Now, for something like that to happen, um, yeah, Cameroon. I mean, they've done stuff before. That was their only one in the tournament. Malawi beat them, and then they beat Egypt. Then they lost to Guinea. Then they lost to Guinea again, and now they get Egypt again in a match that they have to win. Um, but you have to back Egypt and Guinea. They're both ahead by a massive goal difference. Malawi will it'll suck to not see them come back. They made it to the knockouts in the previous edition, but it's unfortunate to possibly see them go, but you have to back Egypt and Guinea. Guinea, a dark horse to possibly win AFCON. And Egypt, led by Mo Salah, they have to get through. Group E sees a very fun friend of mine from the boys from the Central African Republic. Why do I bring up the Central African Republic? I don't even think half you people who watch this know where the Central African Republic is on a map. The Central African Republic in World Cup qualifying went to Lagos and beat Nigeria. Remember Nigeria? Well, the Central African Republic gave a decent showing. That was their only win in that qualifying round. Well, fast forward a couple of months, Central African Republic is making a name for themselves. Granted, they lost to Angola to start the qualifying, but then they drew Ghana, which is good. Then they beat Madagascar twice. Ghana and Angola drew on in March, and they actually have a match that can clinch them qualification as they play Angola. Madagascar took themselves out of it with 1 point in 4 matches, and that was the aforementioned draw to Angola. Um, by the way, fun fact about Madagascar: they had a chance to actually clinch the next round of World Cup qualifying, but they were in a group with like DR Congo, Tanzania, and Benin. More on those some of those teams later. Um, but yeah, that matchup is on June 17th. In I don't know where this is. I'm gonna be dead serious. I don't know where this is. This is the match is in Cameroon. I don't know why it is, but it's in Cameroon. Okay, we have Angola and Central African Republic and Cameroon. I'm gonna back the boys from the Central African Republic to at least get a draw because their last match is against Ghana, and that can give Angola a chance. But I'm gonna back the Central African Republic to get out of this group with Ghana. Group F, we have Tanzania, Algeria, Uganda, and Niger. Niger took it. Algeria clinched it already. They have a +6 goal difference. They're fine. The bottom three all have a chance to make it. And we're going to start with the guys from Tanzania. Tanzania drew Niger and then lost to Algeria, then beat Uganda, who is the other team in this group. Then they lost to Uganda, and now they play Niger again on the road. In Dar el Assam. Where is this? Oh, it's actually in Tanzania. I believe this game is in Tanzania. Yeah, it's in Tanzania. So Tanzania has a chance to qualify if Uganda loses. Well, Tanzania has to play Algeria still, so I mean, you wouldn't clinch qualification, but I mean, they're also on a very similar goal difference. I didn't realize that. So Tanzania and Uganda are gonna that's really what the battle is gonna be. I'm gonna back Tanzania. Just for the meme. I mean, Tanzania, they've ruined a team's qualifying run in the World Cup with Benin um back in a couple months ago. But wow, what a story this could be. Tanzania. By the way, their recent matches, they drew Niger and they lost, and then they beat Uganda in a friendly. In Libya? Okay. Then they won their qualifier in Egypt. I don't know why these games aren't in their home countries. I need someone to explain to me, but they have technically a road match, I believe, against it's they're playing Niger. I'm gonna back them to win that match. But yeah, I think Tanzania is gonna they might not clinch qualification yet, but it's really gonna come down to the last day. Group G, I find very interesting. Mali is one of the most underrated countries in Africa. Then we have the Gambia, who beat Tunisia in the previous edition. The Congo and South Sudan. South Sudan, I think, has no chance. I mean, they have a chance still, but let's look at the matches. The Gambia beat South Sudan, then Mali beat the Congo, then the Congo beat the Gambia, then South Sudan lost to Mali, then South Sudan beat the Congo. That's why the Congo doesn't have 9 points. That's why. The Gambia then lost. I think we mentioned then the Gambia lost to Mali. Then the Gambia beat Mali, which is a very interesting result. Then Congo won against the South Sudan, and then the Gambia plays South Sudan in a match that you have to back them. The matches in Egypt, I'm gonna back the Gambia, just because of like what they're able to do. They made it pretty far in this tournament in last edition. I think I'm gonna back the Gambia ahead of the Congo because the Congo and the Gambia play each other. And if both teams actually get a result, it's possible that Mali doesn't make it either. But granted, Mali plays the Congo, and I'm gonna back Mali. Um, in Brazzaville, Congo, in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, this is in the DR Congo, not the regular Congo. This match, I believe, will be in the DR Congo. I'm gonna back Mali. They're the better team on paper. They've had a lot of great players. You want to look at some of these guys in their roster. They have a player on Salernitana, Lasana Koulibaly. They have Sekou Koita. I totally butchered that. Abubakar Traore and they have a player on Partizan Southampton. Okay. I didn't even know that. They have a player on Crystal Palace. They have a lot of European players. Granted, their goalkeepers are as good as a twig. I mean, for where they play, and that's the only reason I say that. Um, but currently, I'm gonna back the boys from Mali and the Gambia. Which, by the way, if you don't know what the Gambia looks like, it's essentially the banks of a river south of Senegal. Um, but they have a decent national team. They've really grown the game, and I'm gonna back the Gambia to get out of this group. But it's going to really come down to the matchup in September, which I'll preview in September. Group H, we're almost done with Africa. We have Ivory Coast, Zambia, Comoros, and Lesotho. Lesotho is already out. And Zambia can clinch qualification. With a draw against Ivory Coast, you have to back with how much corruption there is that this match will likely end in a draw. Ivory Coast doesn't need to do anything, so you'll expect that they play a lot of youth players. Comoros, last time AFCON happened, they qualified, um, beat Ghana. So, I mean, granted, there was a lot of stuff that happened in that match, but Comoros is not going to be a total pushover. Granted, Comoros, for them, they beat Lesotho, then lost to Zambia, then lost to Ivory Coast, then lost to Ivory Coast again, and now they come up against Lesotho again, which you have to back them getting a win. So if they do win that match, Zambia loses, that can back up a match, a winner take all in September. But I'm gonna back Zambia to get likely a draw against Ivory Coast, to see Zambia and Ivory Coast go through, which would be sad for Comoros because they actually gave a great fight last time. Group I, we have I think 4 groups left. The fighting, what used to be called the fighting Aubameyang's in Gabon, Sudan, Mauritania, and the boys from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Now, DR Congo, back in World Cup qualifying, just for a fun fact, they're the like 99% favorites to get out of their group. Within 4 days of each other, drew Tanzania and Benin. You might be able to find Tanzania on a map, but if you're not a geographer, like a big geography person, you probably won't find Benin on a map. It's like really skinny. It's like me. It's basically like me. I mean, it's a stick bottom and like okay. For context, but yeah, that's enough about Benin. We get to actually talk about them later on. Gabon is in first place. This group is wide open. I think there's three good teams in this group with Gabon. Sudan's come out of nowhere. I didn't expect Sudan really to do anything, but they went out, lost to Mauritania, then beat the DR Congo, then lost to Gabon, then Sudan then beat Gabon, and now they have a matchup against Mauritania on June 20th that could really determine a lot of of what could possibly happen for the rest of this of qualifying. There's games in Morocco, Sudan, Mauritania, and then Gabon and DR Congo. I think Gabon DR Congo is even a bigger match because imagine Gabon and DR Congo beats Gabon and Sudan and Mauritania draw. This could set up a crazy final day that'll probably be the biggest final day out of all of the groups entirely. With the boys, I want to back the DR Congo because of how good they are to come from behind in a group situation. I mean, they did it in World Cup qualifying. They beat Tanzania. So this is what they did. They went out, they drew their first 2 games, then beat Madagascar, then lost to Madagascar, then beat Tanzania, and then beat Benin. DR Congo has been able to finish tournaments from based on that logic alone. I'm gonna go with Gabon and the DR Congo to possibly get out of this group, but the DR Congo needs to beat Gabon to have any form of a chance. To possibly set up a final day, which you would back both Gabon and the DR Congo to get out of for sure. Um, Group J, and I'm gonna give you guys. I don't think anyone here watches African soccer. We have a little bit of a story between Tunisia and Equatorial Guinea. Now, Equatorial Guinea, um, every time they've made AFCON, they've never been eliminated in the group stage, which is miraculous. These two also played each other in the same World Cup qualifying group. Tunisia almost got knocked out by Equatorial Guinea. Tunisia later made the World Cup, beat France. I don't remember very well. But what happened in this group? Well, Tunisia ran Equatorial Guinea off the field, and then Tunisia drew Botswana, which is I don't know. How do you do that? I mean, that's miraculous. So the group is Libya, Botswana, Tunisia, and Equatorial Guinea. Libya beat Botswana and then lost to Equatorial Guinea, which is very unfortunate for Libya. Equatorial Guinea then beat Botswana. Tunisia beat Libya. Then Equatorial Guinea got scored 3 goals and then beat Botswana 3-2. Then Tunisia beat Libya, and then Tunisia and Equatorial Guinea play on June 17th. That's gonna be probably my match to watch in Malabo. Equatorial, I believe this is in I think this is in Guinea actually. This match. Um, it's actually in Equatorial Guinea. I'm gonna back Equatorial Guinea in this match, officially clinching their qualification and taking the last 2 matches out of the picture entirely. Botswana's already eliminated. But it'd be funny if Tunisia bottles both matches and finds a way to get eliminated. Group K, there's our second to last group. We have Morocco, South Africa, and Liberia. Zimbabwe got disqualified. This is a cakewalk for Morocco. They won their first 2 matches. They're going to qualify. South Africa and Morocco play each other on June 17th. This group, South Africa needs a draw and they're through because you have to back Morocco beating Liberia. But South Africa kicked themselves in the foot. They went up 2 goals in March against Liberia and blew the game. Morocco beat South Africa after South Africa went ahead, by the way. Morocco then beat Liberia. Then we know what happened with South Africa drawing. Then South Africa beat Liberia. Now they play Morocco again in Johannesburg, South Africa. That's going to be another fun game to watch. South Africa hasn't been in the World Cup since 2010, and they weren't not, I believe, in the last edition of AFCON. So it'll be interesting to see by how you have to back South Africa, get their revenge for what happened in the World Cup qualification. And then the last group, Group L, Senegal absolutely walked this group with a +8 goal difference there through already. The bottom 3 is so unexpected because I don't think anyone watching this stream afterwards, because I don't think anyone's watching it live, knows how weird this is. We have Mozambique, Rwanda, and Benin. Benin drew Rwanda, lost to Mozambique and Senegal, then drew Rwanda again, and now have a match against Senegal in which they need Mozambique to not beat Rwanda in order to have a chance. I'm going to back Benin to get at least a draw. But this game is in Rwanda, Mozambique and Rwanda. I'm going to back I mean, they need Mozambique. I think this game is going to be a draw instead of a possibly big final day. But I'm going to actually back Rwanda. Never mind, I'm not backing Rwanda. I forgot they played Senegal last. It's going to be either Mozambique or Benin for me. But if Rwanda actually wins their opening match, that they have a legitimate chance. But Benin being really disappointing, unexpected for me because of how good they were in World Cup qualifying. That group's gonna come down in the end, but I think it's gonna be Senegal, and I'm gonna back. I think that game's gonna be a draw between Mozambique and Rwanda. It'll be a fun one, but I think that game is going to become a draw. So after all of that, Africa, you guys watched the first 20 minutes. That was Africa. Now we're gonna head to the first of 2 UEFA tournaments. I actually didn't set up one of them. So we'll get to that when we get there. We're going to begin with Euros qualifying. So how you get into this tournament, you have to finish top 2 in your group or based on like your Nations League ranking. If you won your Nations League group, you have a chance to go to the playoff. Group A, we have Spain, Scotland, Norway, Georgia, and Cyprus. And we're going to say hello to our lovely friends in Georgia. They have a wonder kid on Napoli called, his name is Kavisha Kvaratskhelia. He is ridiculous. He had a very good season at Napoli. They drew Norway. Scotland beat Spain and Cyprus. Not that big of a deal. Spain doesn't. I don't believe plays this window at all. Spain doesn't play in this window at all. So they lost their break already. But because it's 5 teams, you play. Sometimes you like lose. You get the idea. Your upcoming matches are on June 17th and the 20th. We have Norway, Scotland in Oslo, Norway, which I think that's going to be my matchup to watch for sure. But the June 20th match as well, Scotland, Georgia at Hampton Park. I think it's also going to be a fun one. I think Georgia can possibly go to Scotland and get a result. Now, granted, it's very hard to get a result in Scotland. They beat Denmark in World Cup qualifying last edition of the World Cup, even though it didn't really matter. They've gotten other crucial wins there. It's very tough to win at Hampton Park, but I think Georgia can maybe make some noise. They play Cyprus to start on June 17th. And you have to back Georgia getting a result there. Cyprus, the worst team in this group by far. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see. Spain's not playing. We'll talk about why in a minute. Um, but yeah, Norway, they got very unfortunate. Georgia at least is automatically going to be in the minimum of the playoff, but Norway, they need to finish top two in their group to have any form of a chance to making the Euros. It's gonna be very fun. I mean, a lot can happen, but I don't even. My prediction for this group is gonna be the way it is right now, but flipped. I'm gonna have Spain, then Scotland, then Norway, then Georgia, then Cyprus. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I think Spain and Scotland are really gonna battle it out the whole way. But I mean, Scotland not allowing a goal yet. Scott McTominay is their leading goal scorer with 4 goals in 2 matches. Never thought I'd say that one, yet here we are. Group B is France, Greece, Netherlands, Ireland, and Gibraltar. Ireland, I think, is underrated, but I think they have no chance because they have Netherlands and France in their group, and they didn't do anything in the Nations League. France beat the Netherlands 4-0. Then the Netherlands beat Gibraltar 3-0. Gibraltar's lost both games by 3 goals. They lost to Greece. Ireland threw up a very good showing, though, against France, which could cause some concern for everyone else. Ireland plays on the 16th in 4 days' time. They play Greece, and then they play Gibraltar. And then they play France again in September, which will be very unfortunate for Ireland, honestly. But I think Ireland has a chance, not a great chance, but a chance. My predicted standings, I'm gonna go France and then the Netherlands, who went out and won, or 1-1. They beat the cakewalk of Gibraltar and then lost to France 4-0. But you have to back Netherlands. They had a good showing in the World Cup. I'm backing them all the way. Group C is chaos incarnate, and for one team and one team only. That team is Italy. Now, Italy, last time they were in a qualifying, got knocked out by North Macedonia, and probably one of the biggest upsets of that calendar year. Well, they're back and they're playing North Macedonia again. England is also in this group. Yeah, I think they're pretty good at this whole soccer thing. They've never won a Euros. They've never won a European Championship, but I think this could be their time. England beat Italy 2-1. North Macedonia walked over Malta, even though it got really interesting late. England then beat Ukraine, who's also in this group, 2-0, and then Italy beat Malta 2-0. Setting up for what could be a very interesting matchup the game's in North Macedonia. They play Ukraine, and then North Macedonia goes to Manchester at Old Trafford and plays England on my birthday. By the way, just for reference, no episode June 19th. It's going to be on the 20th. But you guys already knew that if you watched the streams. But this is very weird because I think North Macedonia can very well go out and beat Ukraine and then throw up a fight against England. Granted, they went to Rome and beat Italy. I wouldn't be shocked with how much confidence England has that England goes out and bottles this. Ukraine has to beat Malta to have any form of a chance. But North Macedonia is a very interesting schedule coming up. They have a big match up with Ukraine, and then they play England, and then they play Italy in September. It's really come down to those matches. Predictions for this group, I'm going to say England and Italy. I'm going to say that just the way it is right now. England and Italy, then Macedonia, then Ukraine, then Malta. I think Malta has no chance, and I think all the other 4 teams do have a chance to make it. Group D, whoever made this group should go to hell because these 2 countries hate each other. Turkey and Armenia. Turkey is automatically in the playoff. I think Wales is going to win this group. I think Wales wins this group because of how they're known for heroics. They're playing Armenia and then they're playing Turkey on my birthday. That's going to be the matchup to watch. Turkey, Wales. I think Wales wins this group with Croatia, then Turkey. Armenia, Latvia. Latvia has no chance. Armenia might have a chance, but how they've played their first 2 matches. Granted, they let on an own goal. They have not scored a legitimate goal yet. Granted, they played 1 match, but still. They play Latvia and they play Wales. So they go to Cardiff first. I think Wales runs them off the field and then they go on. They should go beat Latvia, but who knows at this point. But yeah, Wales, Croatia, Turkey, Armenia, then Latvia. That's gonna be my prediction. Group E, we have Czechia, Poland, Moldova, Faroe Islands, and Albania. This is the most straightforward group out of all of them. This should be a handover to Poland and Czechia, the way no other group is in this entire thing. Moldova and Albania are like, okay, but Lewandowski's there, and Czechia made the European playoff in World Cup qualifying. I think this is an absolute walk for both of them. Granted, Czechia drew Moldova, but this has to be a cakewalk to Czechia and Poland for sure. Absolutely going to walk this group. Group F is very interesting to start off. We have Austria, Belgium, Sweden, Estonia, and Azerbaijan. Estonia and Azerbaijan, I think, have no shot. The top three, no one's safe. And the team I'm going to want to be concerned about most is Belgium. Now, Belgium was ruined by Roberto Martinez. We all, if you've paid attention to the international game, you know that Roberto Martinez ruined this team with his bad tactics and Lukaku not being able to finish. Austria has gone on and won their first two matches against bad teams. June 17th is going to be a matchup in Brussels, Belgium. Team Belgium and Austria. That's going to be the matchup of the window for this group, probably for sure. Austria, Sweden is a little bit of a derby in Vienna. That'll be another fun one as well. But both matchups for Austria here are really going to dictate on how good this team actually is. They don't have a lot of firepower, but Sweden, led by, of course, well, it used to be Zlatan, and then he retired last week. Likely to be led by Alexander Isak, who had a great season for Newcastle. Belgium, you have De Bruyne, who I hope he comes back. He's currently injured. He got injured in the Champions League final. We don't know his status. And of course, you have Lukaku or Lukaku or whatever the hell you want to call him at this point. But my prediction for this group, I'm going to go with Belgium and Sweden. Austria is going to fall apart. They always find a way to choke these things. I'm going to say Austria misses the Euros for the first time in a good amount of time. Group G, I think could be possibly be another walk. Serbia, Lithuania, and Bulgaria. Bulgaria is not a pushover. Granted, they haven't scored a goal yet, but Bulgaria lost to Montenegro, and then Hungary, I think, got snubbed from the last World Cup. They missed out because of they could have qualified for their Nations League spot. Unfortunately, they didn't. Hungary last Euros got thrown into the group of death. I think this year Hungary is going to come back with all the firepower that they want. Serbia and Hungary, I think, win this go through easily. Montenegro is going to give them a fight, but Montenegro is not going to be a pushover whatsoever. So, but I'm still going to back Serbia and Hungary. Lithuania and Bulgaria have no chance. It's really going to come down to the top three based on their ranking. I think Serbia and Hungary are going to get through this group fairly easily. Now we get to the 6-team league division or groups, or whatever the hell you want to call them, where we have an extra bad team in them. So Group H, we have Slovenia, Denmark, Kazakhstan, Finland, Northern Ireland, and San Marino. We're going to start. I just have to bring this up. We're going to go to my boys from Kazakhstan. I was able to watch the end of this. They played Denmark, went down 2-0 early, and then scored 3 goals in 16 minutes from Zainab. I'm not even going to try it. I'm sorry, Kazakhstan. I can't say your last names. They're very difficult. You have to give me a break here. But 2 goals from I'm not even trying that either. But Denmark scored 2 goals early, and then Kazakhstan scores 3 late goals to grab all 3 points against Denmark. Denmark and Slovenia. I mean, Kazakhstan is going to be in the playoff, most likely in the playoff, because of their Nations League finish. But Slovenia and Denmark, I think Denmark, Kazakhstan, Northern Ireland has a chance as well. All 5 teams in this group have a chance to get out. I'm going to go Denmark. You have to possibly back Finland, though. Finland gave a decent showing against Denmark. Granted, Denmark had a hat trick. They've only had one guy score for their team, by the way. But the matchup to watch in this group, I'm going to go with Slovenia and Denmark on my birthday, June 19th. I'm not even going to say where the Slovenian capital is, because I'm going to get it wrong. But Northern Ireland and Kazakhstan, I think, is also going to be a fun match. Kazakhstan, I think, could possibly be in first place by the end of this match day. It's very possible. that my boys from Kazakhstan have a chance to make it out. But I'm gonna go with Denmark. Then I'm gonna go with Finland. Then Kazakhstan. Slovenia, I think, is gonna fall a little bit. But it's gonna be really a four-team race. There, Northern Ireland's like a piece or two from really getting to where they really need to be, really have a chance. Group I, Switzerland is gonna walk this group. The underrated team here is Israel, who give like a good showing in the last World Cup qualifying. Romania also has like a pretty competent team. Romania last went out and beat Andorra and then beat Belarus. They play Kosovo, who I think is a decent team as well. Kosovo in their two matches have drawn both of them. Started with a nice heart-stopping 1-1 draw at Israel, which is actually a good result. And then they drew Andorra, which is very unfortunate. Belarus, I think, is going to finish bottom of this group. I think it's going to be Switzerland's to lose. Switzerland's going to make it easily. This is a cakewalk for Switzerland. I think very possibly I think it could come down. I'm sorry, I can't speak right now. It's going to come down to Romania, Israel, and Kosovo. But you have to back. I mean, Israel's going to be in the playoffs, so you'll see them in the playoff automatically. But I'm actually going to back Romania. I'm going to back everything I said, but Romania and Switzerland, just the way it is, to get out of this group. Last group, we have Portugal, the Fighting Ronaldos, with Slovakia, Bosnia, Iceland, Luxembourg, and Liechtenstein. Portugal is going to walk this group again. Bosnia, I think, is very possible finish second, but Bosnia is guaranteed a playoff spot. But I think it has to be Portugal, then Bosnia, then Slovakia. Really, really don't need to dive much in this group. The bottom three are going to be cakewalks to the end. Portugal should get out of this group very easily. By my town, Mineola, back in New York, is mostly Portuguese. I think if they're watching this, you're going to be very happy this thing died. They're going to walk this group and obviously make the tournament. Yeah, the matchups are this week and early next week. But we are actually, hold on one second. Okay. Just loading it now because I forgot that when I did my notes that I didn't load up my UEFA Nations League stuff. So we'll load up the UEFA Nations League. Now, you might have heard me say that there are some teams that don't play a qualifier in this window, and that is Netherlands, Croatia, Spain, and Italy do not play a game this qualifying window. The matchup on Wednesday, we have Netherlands, Croatia, and Spain and Italy to see who plays in the UEFA Nations League final, the first of two Nations Leagues I get to talk about. Previewing the first match, you have to back Netherlands. I think they're the better team on paper. I mean, Luka Modric is old. They have old golden generation, I think. So I think Netherlands, with their youth, I think they're going to win this match. The other matchup, I want to back Italy, but I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm going to back, actually, no, yes, I am. I'm going to go Netherlands and Italy is going to be the final. My prediction for the final, it's going to be interesting. Netherlands, of course, they have their youth. They had a good showing in the World Cup. Italy didn't even make the World Cup. That being said, I think Italy's going to have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. But I don't know. It's going to be a very fun matchup for sure in a couple of days. But who do I got? Oh, wow. I didn't make my final prediction for this. I'm going to go with the Netherlands wins the Nations League. The most underrated team of the four, I'm going to go with Netherlands wins the Nations League. Sorry that I talked about that really quick. I just had to move on because we still have two tournaments to talk about and we're already 43 minutes in. The next thing up we're talking about is the CONCACAF. We're going to North America with the United States of America. Yeah. All right, I'm done with that. What was that? Anyway. Oh my God, that was so bad. Anyway, we have the Nations League, which the United States made this really hard for themselves. They got 10 points. They beat El Salvador. They drew El Salvador and then won all three other matches afterwards. They beat Grenada twice and then beat El Salvador. Canada is also made through along with Mexico and Panama. So the semifinals are on Thursday. We have United States against Mexico. What better way to do it, honestly? Mexico absolutely making this annoying because they didn't want to go out and do anything with Jamaica. By the way, Curacao, Suriname, Martinique, and Grenada, they all go to Gold Cup qualifying, which is the next term I'm going to preview, but we have to do that later. I'm going to say United States roster for this tournament, I think, is so much better than Mexico. That being said, I don't know how this new United States manager is going to be. I think this game's going to go to extra time, but I do think the Americans win. And they're going to play Canada. I think Canada wins the Nations League solely on the fact that we haven't seen this new manager coach at all. So I'm going to have Canada win the Nations League over the United States in extra time. I think Jonathan David, Alfonso Davies, all those guys, they're going to have a chip on their shoulder from World Cup qualifying. They had a very unfortunate finish in the World Cup, but I'm going to say Canada beats the United States in paradise. Um, and at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Well, it's technically Paradise, Nevada, but you get the idea. Um, that final is on Father's Day. It'll be very unfortunate for me, but I do think Canada has a very competent team. They have a young star like Tajon Buchanan. They have Jonathan David, Alfonso Davies, Mark Anthony Kay in the midfield. They have a lot of other bigger names. The United States has the firepower, but the Canadians have that chemistry that I think they have nothing to play for. They're gonna really, I think they have nothing to play for. They've already proved themselves, and they're gonna prove themselves more at the Gold Cup. I'll explain why in a minute, but I think the Nations League is gonna go. Canada wins, United States second, and then Mexico's gonna win the third place playoff. Panama has no chance of winning either match, and that's all I'm gonna say on that. Canada, is my prediction to win the Nations League. So the Gold Cup, you have to qualify for it for some teams. The teams that have to qualify, our matchups are Trinidad against Guadalupe, Martinique against St. Lucia, Curacao and St. Kitts, French Guiana against St. Martin, Suriname, Puerto Rico, and Guyana, Grenada. And you like the winner of those, you have to win your match, and then you have to play another match, and then you go through to your group. So match one is Trinidad and against Guadalupe, and they play the winner of Grenada and Guyana. And then the winner of that goes into the 7th spot, which will get you into a group with Canada, Guatemala, and Cuba. We're going to talk about it. We're going to go in group order and predict what happens. Group A is United States, Jamaica, Nicaragua, and whoever wins the battle. Probably that bracket's going to probably be Curacao. I'm going to go with the United States winning this group, despite them going to have a much worse team. It's basically a B team tournament at this point. But Jamaica, Curaçao's underrated. I think Curaçao is gonna make they have a good team. They have a youngster. I'm just gonna pull him up real quick for the Curaçao national team. Recently they haven't been in the best run of form. They played in the ABCS tournament, which is like the ABC Islands in Suriname. But they have a player from Birmingham City, Junio Bacuna. I think he's a very competent player. Leander Bacuna plays for Watford. I also think he's pretty competent. Um, their goalkeeper, I believe, plays for the Columbus Crew. He's 34. They have two young guys who play in the Netherlands. By the way, those who don't know, it's a Dutch-speaking country. That's why they have that. But I'm gonna say it's gonna be United States, and then I think it's gonna be Jamaica, but I think barely, probably on like goal difference over the Curacao. Nicaragua has no chance. So I think it will be USA Jamaica, but barely for the Jamaican national team. They still have a good team. They have Leon Bailey, Kumar Roof, and they have somebody else I'm probably forgetting, but yeah, that's going to be a very interesting group. Group B, I think, is going to be a wash, possibly. They have Mexico, Haiti, Honduras, and Qatar. Haiti, I think, is going to get eliminated early. It's really going to come down to Mexico, Honduras, and Qatar. I think Qatar has a chance to win the group, depending on who Mexico throws out on the field against them. I don't know the Mexico roster, but I think it's going to be Mexico and Qatar going to go through. I just don't know the specific order. But for right now, I'm just going to say Mexico goes through on top, just because of how good that Mexican national team will be. I think they're better than Qatar still on paper. Group C is a group of death. Panama, Costa Rica, El Salvador, and the winner of matchup number 8. Match number 8 is going to feature the winner of number 2, which is St. Lucia, Martinique, Puerto Rico, and Suriname. I think it's going to be Suriname. They did it last time. They're going to do it again. I think it's going to be Costa Rica and then El Salvador over Panama. Panama, I think, is going to be falling apart. They lost to Honduras. They choked it away in World Cup qualifying. This is the start of the fall for Panama, and I think it's going to come early. El Salvador plays them on the last day. It's going to come down to that matchup on July 4th. No one's going to be watching the game because it's American Independence Day, because it's the United States of America. Yes. I have to say that every time, probably, don't I? But El Salvador and Costa Rica is going to be a fun match in Red Bull Arena. I wish the United States played in Red Bull Arena. That would have been really fun to go to. Would have even vlogged it possibly for you guys. But Panama plays Costa Rica on match day 1. that matchup is going to determine how good this group actually is. I think Costa Rica should win that matchup in Fort Lauderdale. But yeah, so I'm going to say Costa Rica and then El Salvador. Both teams very hard to break down. Panama, I think, is much easier to break down than both of them. So I'm going to go Costa Rica and then El Salvador to go through. Group D is a walkover for Canada. They're going to play the other prelims winner, which I'm going to think is Trinidad. I'm going to think Trinidad has a good chance, but I'm going to just go with a team that qualified automatically because none of these teams are really that good. They're all getting eliminated early. So I'm going to say Canada, then Guatemala. I think Trinidad's going to finish in third. I think they're going to throw up a good showing again over the Cuban national team. So then we go to these brackets down the bottom. We have the winner of Group D, which is Canada, playing the runners-up of Group A, which I had it as Jamaica. Canada is going to make the semifinals. They're going to advance to San Diego. Canada, I think it's going to be a very good match, though. I bet there's going to be multiple goals scored by either team. But I think a 3-2 win for Canada would most likely be here. I still don't know entirely who Canada's throwing out on the field. So I'm just backing that Canada's to just keep a similar team to what happened in the Nations League, but it's possible that Jamaica could win this game. But next, we have the winner of Group B, a letter B, as some say it, which I have as Mexico, taking on the runners-up in Group C and El Salvador. And I think this is where, if Mexico's not throwing a competent team on the field, I'm going to say an upset. There has to be an upset in this thing. If Mexico's not throwing out their full squad, which I don't think they are, I think it's very possible that El Salvador could make a run. I think they make the World Cup in 2026. This is the time where they're really going to start and shine. They're going to get ran off the field by Canada. But I do think El Salvador would beat Mexico in this situation. So if Mexico's there, I think El Salvador does win this game. They're so hard to break down. I think El Salvador wins that match. That's my most boldest take of the whole damn tournament. And it's going to be El Salvador beating Mexico in Arlington. It's going to be surrounded by Mexico fans, and El Salvador is going to shock the world. There you go. You heard it here first. Next matchup in Cincinnati, we have the winner of Group letter A, which is the United States. They're going to take on the runner-ups of Group D. USA is going to win. The USA is going to win this match like 6-0. They should win this match by 6-0. They're playing Guadalupe. The youngsters, no matter who you throw out on the field. I could throw Paxton Aronson out on the damn field, and he's going to win the match for me. The United States is going to advance, and I think they're going to go up. They're going to go up probably against Costa Rica, which I don't want to play them. I just don't want to play them. They're going to play at Qatar. But Qatar is, I think, is still a mess. I'm going to say to give me United States, Costa Rica on the bottom, Canada and El Salvador at the top. Canada and United States are going to play each other again in the final. Both finals are going to be the same teams, but me thinking this is going to be more of a B team tournament, I'm going to back the United States depth to win the Gold Cup again. So you heard it here first. Canada win the Nations League, but the United States win the Gold Cup in 2023. But that's going to be for the soccer. It was crazy. I had so much fun doing this. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching. I'm going to post the new link up on YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe, of course. We're on the road, I'm going to say, to 100 subscribers. Make sure you follow the show at the Robbie Basel Show on Instagram. We're so close to 50 followers. I cannot wait to hit that spot. I might do something where if I hit 100 subscribers. No, here's what I want you guys to do. I'm going to put out a poll in a couple of days, possibly. I'm possibly going to do this. If we hit 100 subscribers before the NFL season, 100 subscribers and 100 followers, I will buy a jersey of your guys' choosing. I'll think about it. But you guys have to talk to me about this. If you guys want to see that, then comment below this video, DM me, do whatever the hell you want. But that will be the end of this episode. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Sorry about the technical issues. This new link will be up on YouTube. But for now, I'm Robbie Basel. I'll see you guys this Friday. It'll be 8 p.m. again. But I'll see you guys then. Good night, everybody.